Today's lesson is about coordinate points. Today we're going to learn the importance of them, how to plot them, and what we can use with them in real life. We are going to discuss what makes a graph or coordinate system, take a look at the examples that we have here, and we'll discuss some of the similar characteristics that we see in these graphs. Go ahead and take your time if you need to pause it to discuss, or if you want to just keep going, that's fine. Hopefully what we gathered from the last discussion about those graphs that we were looking at is that they all have something bordering them. They have two lines called axes. We have an x-axis along the bottom, and we have our y-axis that goes along the top vertically. The ordered pairs we're going to be discussing has a point from each of those axes to make a designated spot on our graph. We're going to look at some examples in the next slide. Here we see in our first example it has 5, 3. If we look on the x-axis, the one on the bottom, and we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots over to the right, and then the 3, we go 1, 2, 3 up on the y-axis. Once we find those two spots, if we connect them, we get our coordinate point of 5, 3. We look at our second example, and it shows you we have a point P. Here we see that it is 2 over on the x-axis and 4 up on the y-axis. That would be the point 2, 4. And what they are also showing you there in the center, we are starting from our origin, which is 0, 0. We always start from the origin. Can you guys think of any real-life examples? If you need to pause it and take a second, that's fine. In a minute, we are going to go to the hyperlink there, Battleship, and we're going to see how coordinate points are used in a fun game and how we could possibly use in a real-life example. Another example that we can use other than something like Battleship, which we plotted our coordinate points, we can use them to make graphs of real-life data. So for this activity, we're all going to break up into groups. I will assign them in a minute. What we're going to do is each person is going to have a different task of running either 0, 15, 30, 45, or 60 seconds. And then we're going to take our pulse and we're going to use that information to make a ordered pair for each person on a graph, and we're going to find some trends. After our graph, what I want you to do is take your information and go to an Excel document. We are going to use that. I do have an example if you need to see it, and you're going to make a table and turn that table into a graph using the ordered pairs that we put in our table. One is going to be an X and one is going to be a Y coordinate. I want you guys to figure that one out. In your groups, discuss it with each other. And in your Excel document, please put it explaining the trend or pattern you guys saw, if any, and please put an explanation about how you created the graph and table. And once again, if you need to see an example, I do have one. To summarize what we did today, remember that X and Y is how we plot our points. Horizontal is first and then vertical, so our bottom one, our X, and then our Y going up. Battleship was an example of a game that's ordered pairs, and personally I thought it was a little fun. And finally, we saw that we have real-life examples that we can use in a lot of math problems. Are there any other ways that you guys could possibly think that people may use this other than to graph something like we did in class today?